Here's your wrestling news for January 3rd, 2026. Your headlines for today include The Rock's retirement match planned for WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia, explosive backstage talk, WWE sale to Saudi Arabia considered, multiple top WWE stars discussed for Royal Rumble return in Saudi Arabia, 3 major NXT call-ups to WWE main roster revealed, big name makes big shock WWE return, fans react, and more. Dwayne Johnson may be preparing to lace up his boots one last time, and if it happens, it could mark the final in-ring chapter of his legendary career. The Rock has remained a major talking point across the last 2 WrestleMania cycles, even without stepping inside the ring. He played a pivotal role in the build-up to WrestleMania 41, but ultimately did not appear at the event, later explaining on the Pat McAfee show that he wanted the final boss to step back and allow John Cena and Cody Rhodes to take center stage. Now, new reporting suggests WWE may be eyeing something much bigger. According to Andrew Baydala, a big offer is currently being discussed for The Rock to wrestle at WrestleMania 43, which is set to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Baydala was careful to clarify that The Rock is not scheduled to wrestle at WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas, pushing back against renewed speculation about an earlier return. With WrestleMania heading to Saudi Arabia for the first time, WWE appears motivated to present a truly global spectacle, and few names carry the worldwide recognition that The Rock does. A final match on an international stage would fit both the scale of the event and the narrative of a proper send-off for one of the most influential figures in wrestling history. Whether Johnson ultimately agrees remains unknown, but the timing, location, and reported discussion suggest WWE is at least exploring the possibility of one last appearance from the final boss. If this truly is the end of the road, the question now becomes simple but massive. Who should The Rock face in what could be his final match? And just as important, should The Rock's last match take place on US soil instead, where his WrestleMania legacy was built? WWE appears to be stacking the deck for the 2026 Royal Rumble, and early internal discussions suggest the company is aiming big for its return to Saudi Arabia. According to WrestleVotes Radio, several major names have been scheduled for the Royal Rumble Premium Live event. Joey Votes confirmed through WWE sources that Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Chad Gable, Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Dominik Mysterio, and Tiffany Stratton are all set to play key roles at the event. With WWE heading to Saudi Arabia for one of its marquee events, the reported list suggests the company wants the 2026 Royal Rumble to feel larger than life, leaning into star power, surprise appearances, and momentum-shifting moments. Who do you think should win the 2026 Royal Rumble, and why? Sound off in the comments and let us know your pick. Could WWE eventually be sold to Saudi Arabia? According to Jonathan Coachman, that idea is no longer just fan speculation, it's something he claims is being discussed backstage. Speaking on the Coach and Bro show, Coachman alleged that internal conversations have begun around the possibility of Saudi Arabia acquiring WWE. He tied those discussions directly to WWE's long-standing relationship with the Kingdom, which dates back to 2018 and includes a 10-year strategic partnership. Coachman framed the situation as something that has quietly escalated beyond public chatter. Our narrative that we've been preaching for 6 months to a year has started to become a topic of conversation. It's not only becoming a topic that you and I talk about, but it's actually being talked about backstage in the WWE. He went on to suggest that Saudi Arabia hosting the 2026 Royal Rumble is being viewed internally as more than just another international premium live event. Instead, it's a test run. The whole purpose for having the Royal Rumble events in Saudi Arabia is a test to see how Saudi Arabia addresses and holds PLEs. Coachman believes that test could lead to something much larger, pointing to WrestleMania's rumored future in the region as a potential inflection point. In 15 months, when WrestleMania goes to the same country, that would be the ideal time. He also emphasized the financial aspect, arguing that a Saudi-backed acquisition would align with the Kingdom's recent spending patterns across sports and media. According to Coachman, WWE could command a price between $15 to $20 billion, a figure he described as manageable given Saudi Arabia's investment resources. I think $15 billion is the number. That would be a drop in the bucket for whatever fund they're taking that money out of. That said, it's important to apply context. Coachman has made bold claims in the past that did not materialize, and there's been no confirmation from WWE, TKO Group Holdings, or Saudi officials that a sale is being considered. At this stage, these remarks remain unverified speculation, not reported negotiations. Still, with the Royal Rumble taking place in Saudi Arabia this month and WrestleMania reportedly slated for the region in 2027, the timing has fueled discussion, whether intentional or coincidental. If nothing else, Coachman's comments highlight just how deeply WWE's relationship with Saudi Arabia has evolved and why fans are asking questions that once seemed unthinkable. Do you think a WWE sale to Saudi Arabia is realistic or pure speculation? Would that be good or bad for the company long term? Share your thoughts in the comments below. SmackDown opened with a recap of last week's heated confrontation between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, setting the tone for the night before commentary could even settle in. As Corey Graves and Michael Cole attempted to welcome viewers to the show, The Miz interrupted, declaring that the new year couldn't officially begin until he aired his grievances for 2025. Miz complained about being left off John Cena's retirement tour, calling it a massive oversight. He insulted the fans, demanded respect, and even took a shot at Timothée Chalamet, referencing his recent appearance on Cody Rhodes' podcast. He also leaned into the ongoing tiny balls joke, stacking complaint after complaint in classic Miz fashion. That's when Randy Orton's music hit to a huge reaction. Miz didn't look rattled at all. If anything, he encouraged the crowd to cheer louder. He tried to rope Orton into his rant, calling them locker room leaders, and even floating the idea of forming a tag team, jokingly dubbed Miz KO. Orton never said a word. Instead, he dropped Miz with a sudden RKO to a massive pop. After picking him up and wishing him a happy new year, Orton delivered a second RKO to close the segment. On paper, this could have been a routine angle to kickstart a rivalry. Instead, it landed perfectly. The segment was funny, didn't overstay its welcome, and reminded everyone why Orton's presence instantly raises the temperature on the show. With the Viper back in the mix, SmackDown just got a lot more interesting. Backstage, Cody Rhodes crossed paths briefly with Sami Zayn before seeking out Nick Aldis. Rhodes made it clear he was heading to the ring and wanted Drew McIntyre to personally reveal the stipulations for their upcoming 3 Stages of Hell match. Once in the ring, Rhodes spoke about what it means to carry the WWE Championship. He emphasized preparation, discipline, and work ethic, saying no one outworks him or is more ready for what lies ahead. McIntyre eventually responded, but not in person. Instead, he appeared on the big screen in front of Rhodes' tour bus. McIntyre calmly laid out the structure of their match. The first fall will be a standard wrestling match, the second will be Falls Count Anywhere, and if it reaches the 3rd stage, it'll be decided inside a steel cage. Then things turned deeply personal. McIntyre revealed he had taken a photo of Cody with Dusty Rhodes from inside the bus and stomped on it. That was enough to send Rhodes storming backstage as cameras followed him in real time, but it was a setup. McIntyre slipped away and reappeared in the ring holding a garbage can. He placed the photo inside and set it on fire, taunting Rhodes as officials rushed in to restrain the champion. The moment lingered, almost uncomfortably so, as McIntyre stood inches from Rhodes' face, daring him to react. Despite multiple confrontations between the two in recent weeks, this segment hit harder than most. McIntyre is fully settled into his role as a manipulative, calculated heel, and the emotional stakes of this rivalry feel higher than ever heading into next week's showdown. How emotionally invested are you in this Cody Rhodes-Drew McIntyre feud right now? Has it reached that personal, must-see level for you? Let us know in the comments below. Enjoying the video? A quick like goes a long way in helping us grow and deliver more wrestling news you care about. Sami Zayn made his way to the ring dressed in street clothes. Zayn spoke candidly about recently attending a WWE show as a fan, sitting in the front row with his son during John Cena's retirement. He admitted the moment meant more to him than he expected. Zayn explained that his son asking how many times he'd won a world championship hit him harder than anticipated. That question, he said, made him realize it's finally time to chase that one title that's continued to elude him. Before he could go any further, he was interrupted by Trick Williams. Williams confidently introduced himself and leaned fully into his persona, calling himself a mix of Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, and Michael Jackson. He made it clear that becoming world champion is his goal and added that it won't take him 20 years to get there, a direct shot at Zayn. Zayn didn't back down. He acknowledged Williams' talent, but warned him that experience still matters, saying he wasn't afraid to humble him if needed. Rather than escalating things physically, Zayn exited the ring, letting the words linger. The segment strongly suggested this will be Trick Williams' first real feud on SmackDown, and Sami Zayn is about as reliable a dance partner as you can get for a debut program. While the exchange itself was fairly standard, it did exactly what it needed to do by planting the seeds for what could be an important rivalry. One thing that stood out, however, was the crowd response. While Williams was positioned as receiving strong reactions, it was difficult to tell how much of that support was organic versus enhanced, as the live audience didn't appear as vocal as the presentation suggested. Still, as a setup segment, it created intrigue, and now the focus shifts to whether this feud can elevate Trick Williams quickly on the Blue brand. The main event of this week's show was an ambulance match between Damian Priest and Aleister Black, a feud WWE framed throughout the night with backstage segments and a video package signaling this as a decisive chapter between the two. The chaos started quickly, with the fight spilling toward the ambulance early on. Priest pulled out a stretcher and equipment from the vehicle and slammed Black into it before the show cut to commercial. Their chemistry has been proven before, and it showed again here. The match leaned heavily into weapons and table spots, but the pacing allowed the big moments to breathe. WWE gave them ample time, letting both men sell the punishment and escalate the violence naturally. A turning point came when Zelina Vega opened the ambulance doors, only for Rhea Ripley to appear and chase her off, planting Vega with a riptide. Priest then mirrored Black's past tactics by using a fireball to blind him, turning the tide decisively. The fight climbed onto the ambulance, where Priest sent Black crashing through two tables below. With Black incapacitated, Priest loaded him into the ambulance and slammed the doors to secure the victory. This was a brutal, physical match designed to end a rivalry, and it delivered that finality. Chelsea Green was shown backstage attempting to get out of her scheduled match against Giulia, but SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis quickly shut that down, making it clear the match was still happening. Back in the arena, Kit Wilson made his entrance sporting new gear and brand new entrance music, signaling a fresh presentation. However, his opponent turned out to be a very familiar face. The former Zack Ryder made his way to the ring under his real name, Matt Cardona, marking another step in his gradual WWE reintroduction. The match itself was short but solid, with both men getting some offense in before Cardona picked up the win with the Rough Rider. Following the bout, Michael Cole confirmed on commentary that Cardona is now officially a member of the SmackDown roster. Before this recent stretch, which included an NXT match against Josh Briggs and participation in the Last Time Is Now tournament, Cardona had not competed in a WWE ring since 2020. This victory now positions him firmly back on WWE television, but questions remain about what comes next. Will Matt Cardona finally getting meaningful run under Triple H, or does he risk getting lost in the shuffle once the novelty wears off? Sound off in the comments and let us know what you think. Johnny Gargano earned an opportunity to challenge Carmelo Hayes for the United States Championship this week. As expected, Candice LeRae was at ringside to support Gargano, while Tommaso Ciampa was noticeably absent. Despite sharing the ring numerous times in tag team and multi-man matches, this marked the first singles encounter between Hayes and Gargano. Given their reputations as elite in-ring performers, expectations were high and both men delivered. The match was fast-paced, competitive, and filled with crisp execution, showcasing why both are regarded as among the best bell-to-bell talents in WWE. While a title change felt unlikely in Hayes' first defense, Gargano proved to be an ideal challenger to establish the champion as a fighting title holder. Hayes ultimately secured the victory with a massive diving leg drop to retain the championship. After the match, Hayes was shown backstage sharing a respectful moment with Ilya Dragunov. He later crossed paths with The Miz, thanking him for staying out of his way and allowing him to focus on achieving his goals. Where do you see this booking of Carmelo Hayes go from here? Is he on track for a breakout run, or is WWE still figuring things out? Sound off in the comments below. The men's US title was decided earlier in the night, but the spotlight later shifted to the women's United States Championship as Giulia challenged Chelsea Green. Their rivalry added intrigue, especially with Green having beaten Giulia for the title back in November. With that history in mind, both women showed clear chemistry, delivering a fast-paced match that reflected how much their in-ring connection has grown since their first encounter. In a surprising result, Giulia captured the championship with a Northern Lights bomb. Kiana James joined her in celebration as she claimed the title for the second time. Kicking off the year with a championship change felt like a strong creative choice and instantly raised the stakes in the women's division. SmackDown opened with the advertised 8-woman tag team match as Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair took on Asuka, Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend. Surprisingly, neither Bliss nor Flair received a televised entrance. The heels immediately set the tone, attacking before the referee could officially call for the bell. Once order was restored, it came down to Ripley and Asuka as the first legal competitors, giving the match a strong opening exchange. After the first commercial break, the heels continued to control the pace. Bliss briefly sparked a comeback before making the hot tag to Flair, which finally brought the crowd to life. From there, the match settled into a steady rhythm, with all 8 women getting their moments to shine. That said, the biggest issue wasn't effort, it was flow. The frequent commercial breaks disrupted the momentum, making the match feel more fragmented than it needed to be. While the performers worked hard to keep the energy up, the pacing suffered as a result. There were also a couple of noticeable miscommunications. Asuka's running hip attack missed its intended mark on Sky, and later, Kairi Sane's neckbreaker attempt didn't fully connect. Neither moment derailed the match, but they stood out. Despite those hiccups, the bout was still solid overall and benefited from being spread across multiple segments. In the end, Io Sky sealed the victory for her team with Over the Moonsault on Sane, closing the opener on a strong note. Ahead of the show, reports surfaced that Jordynne Grace was backstage and expected to appear, which only fueled speculation that a full-time main roster move could be on the horizon. During the broadcast, Grace was spotted in a backstage segment alongside Nick Aldis and Chelsea Green. Later in the night, she made an even stronger statement when she confronted Jade Cargill, further adding to the belief that her presence on SmackDown may be more than just a one-off. During the exchange, Grace revealed that she was considering signing with SmackDown full-time. Cargill attempted to discourage her, but the interaction ended with Grace walking away, making it clear she wasn't backing down or second-guessing the move. Following the appearance, Fightful Select reported that Grace's involvement on the show is her official call-up to the main roster. The report also noted that with SmackDown expanding back to a 3-hour format, WWE has been looking toward NXT talent to help fill the additional runtime, making Grace a natural fit for the brand. Until now, Grace had loosely been aligned with Thea Hale on WWE NXT, but her SmackDown appearances suggest a clear shift in direction. While her character hasn't formally signed on screen yet, the trajectory appears obvious. Do you think SmackDown is the right brand for Jordynne Grace? Who should be your first major feud on the main roster? Let us know your thoughts below. That was SmackDown this week, guys. How'd you like the show? Which segment stood out to you the most and why? Sound off in the comments below.